Good afternoon, everybody. I am so looking forward to this training today. So, today we are going to be talking about showing homes strategically. Okay. And what I mean by that is a lot of times we show homes, but we have a really hard time getting our clients to accept to move forward with the offer. So, there are a lot of different times when we have to get the client to take the next step. Okay. It starts from when we first prospect with them. We talk to them about getting information. And then the next step is for them to set up a consultation with us. That's the first time that we have to get them to say yes and actually take the next step, right? We can't show up at the consultation for them. They have to do it for themselves. Um, Another step is getting them to apply for their mortgage. We can't do the application for them. They have to do it themselves. Sometimes it's setting up the listing appointment. We can't set it. We can't force our way into the house. They have to be willing to let us in. So a lot of the process of being a good realtor is getting your clients to not only accept to take the next step, but to actually move forward with the next step. And what I've found is a lot of it is just us helping the clients feel comfortable with the next decision. Remember, we're here to advise them. And so ultimately the decision is theirs, but there's always a reason why we advise them, right? We might walk into a house and we know that the house fits all of their wants and all of their needs. It's a 3 bedroom, 2 bath. It's just over 1,800 square feet, just like they asked for. The yard is a good size. It has a little bit of landscaping for the kids. It's move-in ready. The condition of the home looks relatively good. Obviously, we're not inspectors, so we can't tell them, the condition of the house is good, but based off what we're seeing, we can tell when it's been pretty well maintained in comparison to other ones. And so a lot of times it's really just getting them to see what we see because we see hundreds of homes. At a certain point you're going to have seen over hundreds of homes, and so we get to we just start to recognize things a lot more quicker than the average client does, because the average client is going to go into a few homes, a handful of homes, and they're very emotionally charged. So I talk about this a lot. Remember, we have our logical side and then we have our emotional side. When you're working with buyers, which is what this training is about, we're working with very emotionally charged clients. Even our sellers can be very emotionally charged, but our buyers are moving into a new chapter in their life, and you're helping them walk into that chapter. That's a very scary feeling for a lot of people. For a lot of people, it's a lot of nervousness, but more than anything, we want them to feel excited. Okay. And so I will say this before I really get into the training. I will say this. Um, Whenever you feel like a client is very nervous for the wrong reasons, they're just really nervous, but you know that this is the home for them. They know that this is the home, but there's just that nervousness that they can't get across. There's a trick that I use that I teach everybody to use because this has been a game changer for me. The chemical reaction that's going through your brain and going through your body when you're nervous is exactly the same as the chemical reaction that's going through your brain and your body when you're excited. So, if you're ever nervous, but you know that it's something that you should do, or that maybe you just shouldn't be nervous about, and you're trying to calm your nerves or your client's nerves for that matter, just remind yourself or them that this is a natural process that they're going through, and the process that they're going through, it could just be excitement. So whenever I'm nervous, sometimes I'm nervous to get on these video calls with you guys. Sometimes I'm nervous to meet with a client. Sometimes I'm nervous to do a presentation. I just tell myself I'm not nervous, I'm excited. And it does help a little bit. So that's just a quick little tip. So let's get right into it, you guys. The reason that I wanted to do this training is because I know that a lot of you are showing a lot of homes. We have a lot of buyers on the market right now. We have so many buyers on the market. Inventory is still pretty low, but the market is starting to shift. So hopefully we'll start seeing the market balance out a little more. But overall, a lot of us are working with a lot of buyers right now. And buyers take up a lot of time because we have to set up the appointments, we have to prepare for the appointments, we have to go on the appointments. And then a lot of times it just seems like the ball is in their court, right? It seems like, well, if I take them out to look at properties, I take them out to look at homes, they get to choose at the end of the day. And a lot of times we'll get frustrated because we'll be on showing number 15, 16, 17, and no, pues they're just not making up their mind. They don't want to submit any offers. I've already showed them 3 houses that are perfect. And if you've been a realtor for even just a year, you'll have had experienced a client like this at this point. So I want you guys to remember that you're in control. Remember that ultimately you are in control of this transaction, okay? And the reason that we have to stay in control is because we'll waste a lot of time if we don't. That's really just what it comes down to, okay? We have this productivity group, the productivity team, we have the productivity trainings, and the reason they're called productivity is because we want to be more productive. We want to use our time more efficiently, okay? Everybody has the same 24 hours in a day. The only difference is how we use our 24 hours. So how can we be the absolute most productive? Well, we can start by showing homes strategically. And what I mean by that is there is a full process to showing a home. You cannot just wait for the client to send you an address and say, hey, I like this house that they found off of Zillow or Trulia or Realtor.com. And then you call the listing agent, ask if I can show it, and then show up the next day and expect them to submit an offer. That's not how that works. Okay. There's more to it. You have to first and foremost start by being prepared. Okay. We talk about this with every training. Anything that you do, you're going to have to be prepared. So you're going to have to put in the work beforehand. I call it homework. Okay, I'm at home, my daughter's doing her homework, I'm doing my homework. Okay, we have homework every day. It's preparation. It's just preparation for the next day. So what we want to make sure that we include in homework when we're showing homes is first and foremost, you need to know what's important to your client. Okay, this is the reason that I always talk about doing home buyer consultations with clients before actually showing homes. If you guys have been to any of my trainings before, you know that I always like to set up the consultation, the buyer's consultation, whether they're a first-time home buyer or not. We do this, okay? Set up the first-time home buyers consultation. If you absolutely cannot get them into a consultation because they're a high driver personality and they've purchased a lot of properties before, you at least want to get them on the phone and get a really clear understanding of what it is that they want and what's important to them, okay? So what they need and what they want are 2 different things. That's the first thing. You need to always remember that what they want and what they need, 2 completely different things. But you need to make note of that, okay? So first, we're starting off with the first-time home buyers consultation. We review the process, we review costs to expect, we review timelines, and then we answer any questions that they might have as well. This is how we get those initial jitters of theirs to calm down. We talked about their nervousness. We talked about how emotionally charged they are. So this is how we get them to initially just kind of jitter down. All right, now they understand that and they're ready. They're excited to go start looking at homes. So now that they're excited to go start looking at homes, we want to know what's important to them. So can you guys tell me what are some of your typical clients' needs for a home? What would be considered an actual need?
The letter from la carta de preaprobación podría ser, ¿no? No sé si es.
Sí, eso sería, that would be a need. The pre-qualification letter would be a need for us to move on to the next step. That's correct. But what would be like an actual need of a client? When they're telling you what they want and what they need in a house, what would you categorize as a need and what would you characterize as a want?
amount of bedrooms, the square footage, if they know more or less, if they want a big social area or they want like one space with a kitchen, if they want a big backyard, if they want a pool, like the things that it must be in the house that they are looking for. And yeah, I think.
Yes,
Yo,
very good. That's exactly what I mean. So you
yo,
have to understand what's an actual need of theirs and what's something that they just kind of want. I'm
how
sorry,
about the
Irina, you were saying
budget?
something?
Sí, how about the budget, el presupuesto, la mensualidad que ellos pueden
Mhm.
pagar para pegar. Yo creo que esa es la prioridad, ¿no? Primero saber cuánto
Yes.
pueden pagar.
Yes, yes. Budget, price range. Another thing that we always tell our clients is just because you got pre-qualified for $300,000 doesn't mean that you want to spend $300,000. What's
Yeah,
the payment
that's
that
a
you want
big
to stay in?
sorry, that's a big point, because I have my clients,
Mm-hmm.
they are pre-qualified for 250,
Mm-hmm.
but now that I went to see 100 houses, I know that they can't spend that
They can't comfortably
much
spend the
money.
250, right?
No.
Right.
So we are looking now for houses under 200,000,
Yeah.
because I know they feel comfortable with that amount.
Yeah.
And so,
And
yeah, you need to.
who made that that realization? Was it them that told you, or did you realize it after showing
I
them a few?
realize that when we are looking for a house that I know is for them, with everything that they want, and they start saying, well, I'm not going to pay that much, I will offer like $20,000 less, and I say, you're going to lose this house. So I realize that they are afraid of spending so much money.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay, I need to look for houses like in a lower range of price.
And that's a great example, Ethel. I know your clients came pre-qualified already, and that happens sometimes when the clients come pre-qualified already because they're a step ahead, and so they feel very in control, right? So we just kind of take their word for, well, sometimes we just think, well, the lender already talked to them, the lender gave them all this information, but really, unless you're working with a lender that you've worked with before and you really understand what they go over with the client, don't assume that they went over it with them. Because, like in Ethel's example, they weren't comfortable with that monthly payment. They just weren't comfortable with that monthly payment, but because the lender gave them a budget of 250, which the lender's not wrong for doing that, they asked Ethel to take them out to look at homes in the 250 price range. And it was after weeks of showing them homes that Ethel realized, well, these homes were perfect. Why aren't you submitting an offer? And that's exactly what we're going to get into. Okay. That's the step that I want to review with you guys. How do you get your client to submit an offer? How do we prepare correctly so that when we're taking them out to look at homes, they're actually ready to submit offers that day, which is where their mindset should be when they go out to look at homes. When we take them out to look at homes, they should already be in the mindset of, I might submit an offer today. If they're not in that mindset, we've probably done something wrong. And so, yes, there's a lot that, hearsay of what they did or the lender did or whatever. But ultimately, if you can take accountability for what you've done and what you haven't done, it's just going to make your job 10 times easier. Okay, because now we can look at, what did I do to prepare, or what did I miss? And it's all a learning experience. We're going to learn from every single transaction. So don't get down on yourself if you have the client that you show a few homes to. The only reason I know this information is because I've done it too. I've showed way too many houses to clients and then not even gotten an offer. So all right, so let's go back to our preparation. So we talked about what are their wants and needs, what's actually a need. Now, Irina, very good on the budget. We don't want to show them homes that are over budget. Don't show them homes that are over budget. For what? If you show them a home in the price range of let's say 250, and they actually want to stay under 200,000, it's 10 times harder for them to fall in love with those $200,000 homes after they've already seen what 250 can get them. It's a whole different, it's just like a whole different tier of home. The home's going to offer so much different. So stick in the price range. Another thing is location. If you can narrow down the location to a zip code, a subdivision or two, that's your ideal start. A lot of clients will come to us sometimes with, well, I'm okay with being on the far east side, on the east side, or even in Horizon. Well, that's a lot of ground to cover, you guys. So if you're going to go from a home in Horizon to the far east, to the east side, that's just a lot of ground to cover. And in reality, these areas, as similar as they are, they have very different things to offer. So the first step is you definitely want to narrow down a location for them. It might take taking them out to go look at homes once before narrowing it down, but don't waste your time trying to narrow down a location for them. That's their job. They need to know what area they want to be in. And you can give them homework also. You can tell them to go drive the neighborhood before you set up any showings to make sure that they like that area. Now, if you're representing somebody that's relocating, that's never been in El Paso, which some of us do because we get a lot of military here, we get a lot of job transfers here. Remember to always follow the code of ethics. So, don't be bad mouthing any neighborhoods, leave your personal bias aside, but ask very detailed questions. For example, do they have anybody here? Is there anybody that lives here that they would like to live close to? That is probably the easiest way to narrow down your location. If they have somebody here that they want to live close to, you just ask for their address. Just ask for their address. Now, when you do your search, you can do a 1 mile or a 5 mile or a 10 mile, whatever it is that client's comfortable with. Probably keep it under 5 miles, and do a search in that area. If school is important to them, like if the school rating is important to them, give them that homework. Tell them, look, this house is in this neighborhood and this pertains to this school district. This house is in this neighborhood and it pertains to this school district. Go and do your homework. I can't tell you as a realtor which school district is better, but I can give you this website to visit. And the website is greaterschools.org. That's where we get a lot of our information when we're inputting it into the MLS, and they have ratings on there. But they really have to decide that for themselves. So narrowing down the location. Now, Ethel, we talked about bedrooms, bathrooms. You threw in like a pool, you threw in square footage. Keep in mind, every family is different. So for some, I have met families where a must-have is a pool. Must-have. It is a must-have. Know that up front. You're going to waste a lot of time looking if you don't know that up front. Or bedrooms. What if somebody wants 4 bedrooms? It's a must-have for them. Their kids never shared rooms. They don't want their kids to share rooms. They're in a price range where it's okay for, like, their expectations are okay for a 4-bedroom. You need to plug that in. I typically try to figure out at least 3 must-haves and then 3 wants for the client going in. And talk about these things to your clients. So when they speak to you, they're probably not going to speak in your terminology. Okay, they're going to tell you, I want this, and I want 3 bedrooms, 2 bath. I want it in the west side. I want this, and they're going to give you very their items are not typically as specific as you need them to be. So if they're telling you west side's huge. What area in the west side? 79932. Are you okay with being on the right side of Artcraft, or do you want to stay on the left side? Are you trying to stay on one side of Donovan or on the other side? Get into this. So I feel like I haven't even gotten into the training, but it's because the preparation is so key. So make sure you guys are asking the right questions. Now, once you have the homes that you're going to go look at, print out the MLS spec sheet. The detail sheet, you're going to print out one in public mode and one in private mode. The private mode is for you, okay? And you'll go through it and you'll read the description. Read what the listing agent has put on there for you. I have so many agents that are like, they just don't read it. They don't, and I know this because they'll call me on my listing and ask me something that's on the listing, on the bio. So read what's on there first and foremost, okay? Read what's on there so you can get as much information as possible. What I like to do with my public one, the one that I'm going to give to the client as we're walking into the home, is I'll highlight the items that are important to them that I want them to know and see. For example, the price. I always highlight the price because the price is up on the top right corner. It's kind of hidden if you don't know where to look for it. So we know where to look for it because we look at these sheets all the time, but your client's not. So I'll highlight the price. I'll highlight the age of the home just because most clients want to know which home is a little bit older. Typically, if it's a little older, it might have more deferred maintenance. Might not, but sometimes. I may or may not highlight the bedrooms and bathrooms depending on what range of bedrooms and bathrooms we're looking at. Like if I'm showing 4 homes and 2 of them are a 4-bedroom and 2 of them are a 3-bedroom, then I want to highlight the bedrooms so they can go back and see that. Square footage. I like to highlight square footage because a lot of times they're going to tell you, oh, this feels small or this feels big. Well, there's an actual square footage on there. We need to look at that because if you're telling me that the home feels small, then I want to know what small feeling is to me. Like, how do I not show you a house that feels small again? Well, I'm going to look at the square footage and say, okay, well, this home's only 1,600 square feet. If this feels small to you, then we should probably stick to looking at homes that are 1,800 square feet or higher. Now, all of this information is my information. I decide what I'm going to give my client and what I'm not. There's some clients that they're okay with receiving all this information and it's not overwhelming to them and they like to hear this information. For example, your analytical personality type. So for everyone that was at the training yesterday, that analytical personality type, they want to know every step of the process. They want to know what you're doing to change up the methods that we're using. So if you're realizing this in the moment, tell them. They'll appreciate it. Somebody that might not really care too much is going to be like maybe you're social conscious. You might be bogging them down with information. But that's something to take into consideration. So again, know what your client wants and needs, and then prepare with your detail sheets, the spec sheets, one public, one private. Prepare one for yourself, prepare one for your client. As we're walking into the home, this is where you start asking questions. So first, you're going to be ready with your spec sheets. You will have reviewed all the information about that property before you actually get to the property, and you're going to know that property, okay? Look at the pictures, understand the floor plan. If you have any questions about the property before showing it, call the listing agent and ask them, okay? Or shoot them a quick text message. Hey, you put something on the confidential remarks about X, Y, and Z. Can you clarify 1, 2, and 3 for me, please? Okay, anything like that that's going to help you get more clarification, because when you go into the home, your client expects you to understand that home. And if you don't understand that home, it's as simple as you didn't do your homework. That doesn't mean that you're going to know every single answer to every single question. If you don't know the answer, you go back and ask the listing agent. However, if you come prepared, I guarantee you there will be less questions that you don't know the answer to than more of them. So show up prepared. Now, when you guys park at the home, quick question, just out of curiosity, who takes their clients in their car to go look at homes, and who just lets them follow them? I want to know. I'm very curious.
Can you repeat the question just please?
Do you put your client in your car with you and take them to the houses, or do you have them meet you there?
We meet
Not
we
me.
meet there.
I asked them to follow me in their car for
Okay.
liability.
Same here.
Yeah, the
Same.
same.
Okay, perfect. You guys are doing awesome then. Don't put anybody in your car, please. It took me a while to figure this one out. I don't know why it took me so so long. That's why I was just curious. But yeah, don't put anybody in your car. Just have them meet you there. Remember, guys, you guys are business owners, and once you're a business owner, you're also a target. Unfortunately, it is what it is. You're a target, and so we just don't want you guys being set up for a lawsuit. You know, accidents happen. We never anticipate for them. We never want them, but they do happen, and we don't want to be put in a position where, you know, something happens and your client's in the car with you. So just have them meet you there. Also, a lot of these people we really don't know, so we just want to make sure that we're staying safe. And then with COVID right now, putting somebody in your car is not the best option either way. So, but you guys are doing awesome with that. That was just out of curiosity. All right, so once you pull up to the house and they pull up to the house and you guys get out of the car and you start walking towards the front door, what should you be asking? Your showing has started already, by the way. The second you park, your showing has started. What should you be asking your client as you're walking out of the car?
Primero preguntar cómo están. First, how they are. I don't want to be so material.
Yeah. No, you're right. Definitely.
Okay,
then?
doing.
After you've asked them how they are and that you're happy to see them,
If
After
they
the
like
trip,
the neighborhood, if
what
they are
did they
looking
think of?
for something like in a place like that,
Yes.
and then start the conversation about if they need to move in a couple of days or they have time, if they are pre-qualified, if they need to sell their house first. Yeah.
Okay, so in this example, this is a client that we've been working with that's pre-qualified, and we already know, we already know that they're pre-qualified. They're our client. We took them to the buyer's consultation. We already know what they want and need. So very good questions, Ethel. But in this example, we really just kind of want to see what they think of the area as we're driving in. And we want to see what they think of the exterior of the home and the landscaping. This is a client that we're taking out to view, let's say 4 homes on a Saturday. Okay, this is a working client that we've had for a while. So as soon as we pull up and get out of the car and, say hi, of course, the first thing that we want to do is find out, do they like that area? What did they think of the drive over here? What did you think of, oh, did you see that cute little church that we passed by on the way over here? What did you think about that? Oh, isn't this some nice landscaping? Do you all like this type of landscaping, or were you looking for something a little more green and lush? Oh, this is a brick home. I'm a fan of brick homes. Do you guys like brick homes? Or, typically I don't put a whole lot of my opinions in there. I try not to. I will every once in a while, but it's more like asking them, like, what do you like? Do you guys like the exterior of the home? Are you a fan of the brick? If they are, then I'll throw in my opinion. Like, yeah, I like brick homes too. But that's the first step. Just remember, as soon as you get out of the car, before you get out of the car, when they're driving in the neighborhood, they're already in shopping mode. They're already in, can I live here? Is this a nice drive? So a lot of times when we get to the home, we already know either this is a nice neighborhood, they're really gonna like it, oh, they're gonna love that there's a park down the street or around the corner, or oh, I saw a dog park, whatever. We already kind of have a feeling. And a lot of times we know that they're not gonna like it right away. For example, we have a few factories in El Paso, and sometimes the factory is like right behind the home, so there's no view, or just little things like that. But we want to get a vibe for, are they feeling that area? Okay. I've had clients that just driving the neighborhood, they've told me, you know what, Denise, I don't like this neighborhood. Do we have to look at the house? And what should be your answer? If they don't like the neighborhood, do we need to look at the house still?
No, yo no estaría de salvar
No
tiempo.
way, Jose. We're not here to kill time. Okay, we don't want to kill time. We want to be productive. We want to be efficient. We want to show them stuff that they actually like. There's no reason in going in the house if they don't even like the neighborhood. So that's the first step. We just want to get that out of the way. Okay, they like the neighborhood. Perfect. Now, once we go into the home, again, know the home. This is part of your homework. When you go through that spec sheet, you're just reviewing the spec sheet as you walk in. So I usually hand them a spec sheet as we're about to walk in, and I let them know, here you go. This is for you guys. You guys can hold on to this, take notes on it. Especially for clients that you've been working with for a while. And honestly, I would just make it a habit. I give them the spec sheet, and then I tell them, here, I'll even give them a pen if I have to, but I'll just let them know, here's all the information on the property. Please take notes on it. Anything that stands out to you, good or bad, take notes on it. Because once we've seen a few homes, you might start getting them mixed together and you might start forgetting which is which. And so this will be helpful when it comes to narrowing it down. And so I'll tell them, like, even if it's something that you didn't necessarily like or dislike about the house, just something that's going to help you remember the house. For example, if it had like a big yellow rug when you walked in, and that's something you're going to remember, just write it on there. And so now they have all the information that I have in front of them. They have the square footage, bedrooms, bath. They have the cute little description that the listing agent wrote down. They have the price right in front of them. It's just kind of like when we go into a furniture store, right? We walk around in the furniture, and if we see something that we like, what's the first thing we do? We check the tag. If we go shopping for clothes, we look, we see something we like, we pick it up, we look at it, but what's the tag look like? So that's why it's important to give them the spec sheet and highlight important information for them, information that you know that they're going to want to know, so that as they're walking through, you have to keep in mind, they don't say everything that they think. They're just not. We're human. Not everybody does that. Most of us have a filter. So we think before we say something. And they might not feel comfortable asking you, or they might be holding the question until the end of the showing, and then by the time the showing ends, they forgot the question. So a lot of that information you're going to give them right at the door. All right, so now we're walking through know the home. So for anybody that's been to an open house training with me, we talk about knowing the home. And what do I mean by knowing the home? I mean, for every single room that you walk into, you should be able to point out at least one nice feature about that house. Okay, you should be able to point something out. So for anybody that hasn't been to the open house training, just a quick overview. When you walk through the home, you should be able to point out 3 to 5 nice features per room. A lot of these features are going to duplicate per room. So for example, if there's brand new double pane windows throughout the entire house, well, that's a feature per room. So you're not going to say it every single time you go into the room, but that's one feature that you have for that room. But since it doubles, you want to make sure you have other features for that room. Brand new carpet, fresh paint, new doors, new light fixtures, granite countertops, new cabinets. Know the home. A lot of this information is going to be on the spec sheet. The listing agent has already given you this information. You just have to take the time to review it before you get to the house. Not when you get to the house. When you get to the house, you have that spec sheet in your hand to reference it, but you're not reading it for the first time, okay? So this is how you know the house. And as you're going through the house, you're going to talk about these key features, and you're going to keep asking questions. What do they think about the ceiling fans? Are they a fan of ceiling fans in the bedrooms? What do they think about the high ceilings? We can't assume everybody likes high ceilings. Honestly, I like high ceilings, but I think twice about it because of how much effort it takes to get up there to clean. So you can't assume people like these things. What about the size of the room? Do they like the size of the room? Is that a comfortable size of the room? What about the layout? Do they like the open floor plan concept, or do they like the division of the rooms? These are all questions that we're asking as we're walking through the home. Now you too should be taking down notes on your spec sheet. Just like you've asked them to take notes, you take notes. Anything that you see that they really like, whether they tell you about it or they're talking amongst themselves, write it down. Anything that they don't like, write it down. Anything that they're feeling about the property. Why? Because it's when we're showing the home that we are learning what the client likes and what they don't like. A lot of times it's very different than what they initially told you at the first time home buyers consultation. Has this ever happened to anybody where at the home buyer consultation they tell you, oh, we just want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and the backyard's not really a big deal. We're not picky. And then you take them to see houses and you're showing them 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, and all of a sudden they want another bedroom and they want a bigger backyard. Has that ever happened to anybody?
Not in my case.
Not in your case?
Not yet.
Yeah, it happens.
It happens. It does happen.
Yeah,
And you
with
know what?
with the amount of bedrooms and with the location too. They say, no, West Side, 79912113222. And then you realize that they only want 79922.
Yes.
And yeah.
It happens. And it's really, a lot of times they didn't know. Honestly, a lot of times they just didn't know. They haven't started the home buying process yet. And it's when you get started that you actually really start feeling like, okay, could I live in this house? Could I see me and my family in here? Would this really be enough space for me? Does it really have what I need? So a client's thought process is different than what our thought process is. Okay. Our thought process is to get them through the process. We're trying to get them from A to Z. That's really what the goal is. Okay. And we want to make sure that when they get to Z, they're happy and comfortable with the purchase that they've made and they understood everything and they got a good deal. But for them, it's a very different thought process. So they might initially think that they're okay with only 3 bedrooms. And once they go in there and they start placing everybody in their bedrooms and all their furniture, they might realize, like, you know what? 3 bedrooms is not enough. I need 4. Or, you know what? I thought I was okay in 79932, but the last 2 weeks that we drove over here just to check out these houses, I realized it's further from work than I want it to be. So I don't want to be over here anymore. That happens. Okay. Be empathetic with your client when that happens. We don't want to make them feel any kind of way. Be glad that they're understanding what they really want and what they need, and letting you know about it. But a lot of times we have to ask the right questions in order for them to tell us. Okay. Remember, not everybody is comfortable saying what they think and what they feel. So you have to prompt them to give you the answer to the question that you're looking for. So we know that in the living room, there's essentially 2 different floor plans typically. There's a open concept floor plan, or there's a divided floor plan where you're going to have like your living room and your dining room separate from the kitchen. That's 2 different categories of home in the living area. Can we narrow that down just by asking a question to our buyer when we're in there? Yes, we can. All we need to do is ask them, oh, this is a beautiful open concept home. Do you like the open concept style? Either yes or no. Okay. So we'll walk through, help them envision themselves in the home. So like I was saying, they're thinking a lot of these things, but a lot of times they won't say it out loud. So as you're walking through with them, ask them, clearly that's the master. What would you be using this room next door for? Would you be using that for the little one? Or would that be an office? Or, do you like some parents like having their kids' bedrooms right next to theirs, and some parents like them being a little bit further. So what parent are they? You know, can they see themselves in this floor plan? Ask a lot of questions. Where would they place their furniture? So I had a client one time that was giving me a really hard time about the size of the furniture. So that was a big thing for me, was like, as soon as we went in, going to the living room to check if the size of the room was big enough for their furniture. So asking those questions. Now, once you've completely walked through the entire house, take a second to review with them what they liked and what they didn't like. And you're going to tell them. You tell them. Don't let them tell you. The entire time that you're walking through the house, they're telling you. So don't make them tell you again. They've already told you. You took notes on it. Now review it back to them. You want to show them that you're listening to what they're saying and that you are genuinely interested in finding them what they want. So if I'm looking at my list, we finished walking through the entire home, and now we might sit at like the kitchen or the dining room, or we might just go back out to the parking lot, depending on how much time we have left. And really quick, I'll say, all right, so the house has a lot of features that you really like. It seems like you guys are okay with the bedroom sizes. You like the floor plan. You like the colors. I know a couple of things that you weren't too crazy about was there's a tub missing in the master. Is that a make or break for you? Is that a make or break for you? This is a question that's going to last the entirety of all the next showings. If she tells me, yes, it's a make or break, I need a tub in my master, now I know not to ever take her to a house again that does not have a tub in the master. Okay. So a lot of it is us consuming as much information as we can, and just asking the right questions. So they might say, yeah, that's you pretty much got it. All right. So if you were to rate it 0 to 5 stars, 0 being you absolutely hate it, 5 being you're ready to submit an offer, what would you rate it? This right here is that point where they have to make a decision. Okay? We can't let them linger on making that decision. We can't let them just, okay, it was nice, it was beautiful, I loved it, let's move to the next house. If you do that, they're going to go to the next house and they're going to love the next house. And then they're going to go to the next house and they're going to either love it or they're not going to love it. And then when you're done with all 4 or 5 showings, you're going to say, okay, are you ready to submit an offer? And they're going to be like, well, not yet. We really like the first 2, but we got to talk about it. And then you're going to feel like a jerk trying to make them make an offer because you don't even know how you got to that point. You're like, what? But they love the first house. How did we even get here? Well, it's because you didn't ask the right questions when you were still at the house. So this last question is a game changer. The second I started doing this, I stopped wasting a lot of time on showings that I didn't need to go to. Okay, the last question before you walk out the house is, okay, if you had to rate it on a 5-star scale, 0 to 5 stars, 0 being I absolutely hate it, 5 being I absolutely love it and want to submit an offer, what would you rate it? Most clients are still not going to give you a 5. Okay? They don't want to make that commitment, especially if you have 3 or 4 houses to show after that. They don't want to tell you yes yet because they want to look at the other homes, and that's okay. They should want to look at the other homes. That's okay. But I want to know, so they'll probably say something like, I'd give it a 4-star, or I'd give it a 4.5. Okay, perfect. That's pretty good. That's up there. So it's definitely a possibility, right? Yeah, this is a possibility. Okay, let me ask you this. What would it take for this home to be a 5-star home? If it had one more thing in it that could give it one more point, or 0.5 of a point, what would that be? What is it missing? That's when you get the truth. That's when you find out if they really love the house or if they really don't, if they're making excuses, if they're just nervous. You're going to really figure stuff out when you ask this question. Because at this point, they're going to tell you either, you know what, the tub in the master, I really wish it had a tub. It's not a make or break, but like I really, really wish it was in there. So I'm hoping that one of the other houses that we see is very similar to this one, but it has the tub. That's a serious buyer, okay? She just wants her tub. That's it. But that's pretty serious. That's pretty honest. That's to the point. And she might even consider this home, but you have a really good understanding of like, okay, if this house was perfect, this is what it would take for it to be perfect for them. Now you move on to the next house and you do the exact same thing. Exact same thing for every single home you visit. Another thing, don't give them all of the spec sheets up front. Give them to them one by one as you get there. So if I get to 1305 El Dorado Street, I'm going to give them the spec sheet for that one as I meet them outside the house. At the next house, I'll give them another spec sheet. So now once you've gone through all the homes, it's going to be a lot easier for you to review all of them again. Now you come back to that same question, okay? So now they've rated them. This makes it easier for you to understand which home they like the most and which home they like the least. So let's say they gave our first home a 4.5. They gave our second home a 3 star. They gave our third home a 3.5, and they gave our fourth home another 4.5. We have 2 homes with a 4.5 rating. That's a very good rating. If you get anything from a 4 or above, just know that they like the house, okay? Anything under 4, they're probably not feeling it very much. So we've got 2 at 4.5. Now we need them to make an offer. We know that the second home is the home. It has everything. It really has everything. The only thing that it's missing is a garage door opener. A garage door opener is what, $150? That's the only thing that it's missing. You know that it's the house. They know that it's the house. So now we go back to being prepared. One thing that I didn't mention about us preparing to go to these homes is make sure you understand the market, make sure you understand the neighborhood, make sure you understand the values. Because once we get to that point of, okay, so based off the homes that we saw, there's 2 that you had at a 4.5. Which home do you like better? And they're going to tell you, you know what, the second one. All right, awesome. I think that one is a perfect fit for you guys also. It has everything that you want and need. And I'll go through the list of everything that they wanted and needed. It's got the 3 bedrooms, 2 bath. It's got the double vanity in the master. It's got the shower and the bathroom. It's got the space that you guys are looking for. All right, so are you all ready to submit an offer? Are you ready to submit an offer? We have to ask these tie down questions where they have to give us a yes or a no. We can't sugarcoat these questions. This is very to the point. Yes or no. If they say no, why is that a no? You just told me that the house is damn near perfect. Like, what's going on? So now we have to dig and see like what it is that's going on. Is it that they want to look at more homes? Is it that they're nervous? Do they have a question? They're not sure exactly how much it's going to cost them, X, Y, and Z. What's the mortgage payment look like? All of that. So talking about being prepared again, typically, if they're ready to submit an offer or they're on the edge, there's a couple of last minute questions that they want to ask you before making the commitment. Some of these last minute questions that they want to ask you before making the commitment are going to be, what's the mortgage payment going to look like? Okay, you have to be ready to answer that. So whether you did the calculation on the properties before to see what the mortgage payment is going to look like, or you have a Carl's mortgage or a mortgage calculator on your phone, you have to be prepared to answer that, because that's a very important question that most clients are going to ask you before they make the commitment to actually submit the offer. Another thing might be like, how much are they going to have to pay? Because they look at the asking price as just an asking price, and that's really what it is. And so they're going to come to you and ask you, well, how much am I going to have to pay for this house? Like, realistically, what do I have to pay for this house? So again, you might want to do, for anybody that's new, I recommend you do a CMA on every home before you show it. This is going to help you practice your CMAs, get that practice in that you need sooner than later. If you're doing every weekend at least 4 CMAs on homes that you're showing, not only are you showing up better prepared to those showings, but you're also practicing learning how to value properties. Okay. And what else do they ask us? They might ask us how many offers are on the table. So that's another thing. When you talk to the listing agent, you know, how many offers are on the table. And so these are the last minute questions that they're going to ask you right before they're ready to say yes. Now, when they say yes, that they're ready to submit the offer, you also need to know, are these people able to electronically sign this offer, or am I going to have to meet them to get this signed in person? Yes, there will be people that you have to meet in person, okay? We still have a lot of elderly clients that are just not too tech savvy, and they really just don't want to mess with it. They don't feel comfortable doing that. So if you're gonna actually have to write out the offer, I recommend that you show up prepared. Show up with a purchase agreement and write it out while you're there. Why not? If you don't want to go that route, that's okay also. You can go back home, you can type it up, you can set up another appointment to meet with them later. But again, I like to use my time as efficiently as possible. And if it's going to save me a 30-minute trip to and from the east side, that's an hour of my life that I don't have to travel back. I'll just show up prepared with my purchase agreement. Okay. And that's how you guys can strategically show a property. I hope this answers a lot of questions, but I'm going to open it up to you guys and see if you have any additional questions from here. No, I know that was a lot of information. I hope that this helps you guys get them to say yes to submitting the offer. And I would love to hear how these methods work for you. Like I mentioned before, the game changer for me was getting my clients to rate the home. I actually used to do a 1 to 10 rating. You can do 1 to 10, but I noticed that because when I switched to the 5-star, they just had less numbers to pick from. They were typically putting a little bit more thought into the number that they were giving. And they were actually typically giving me higher ratings too. When I was giving them the 0 to 10 rating, a lot of times they would give me like a 6 or a 7, and I'd be like, well, that's pretty low, and you seem to really like this house. It was just because they had so many numbers in the middle to not make that commitment. But that was a game changer for me, of course, coming prepared, and just really knowing and understanding the house, guys. You can get a very good understanding of the house before you walk into it by reading what's on the MLS, really looking at the pictures and trying to figure out the floor plan in your head, and then calling the listing agent if you have any additional questions about the property. So with that said, does anybody have anything else to say before we log off?
No, I'm fine.
Questions?
Thank you.
I just want to say something before we leave. It's not related to the training, but sorry. I will prepare a basket full of goodies for your clients at closing. If you're interested on those baskets, I will.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Connie. Yeah, for anybody that's looking for baskets for closings, make sure that you get with Connie. She has some for sale.
Thank you for letting us know.
Yes, I'll send them to the WhatsApp company, and let me know if you're interested or you want some. Okay.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. I'm going to be putting this recording on YouTube. So if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. If you guys have any new realtor friends that need additional, or not even new, but any realtor friends that need additional trainings, please share our trainings with them. This is something we offer to you guys complimentary with the company. So please share these. But until next time, guys, bye. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you very
coming. It
much.
was nice
Thank you.
talking
Thank
to you
you.
all.
Take it easy.
Bye.
Thank you.
You're
Have a great day.
welcome.